Imagine a world where we had fewer people studying journalism and history like I did and doing useful things like engineering and maths and science and proper degrees. But imagine a world also where the focus of studying changed rather than going to university, but going into entrepreneurship. Would student fees be less of an issue? Well, according to research conducted by the South African chapter of the entrepreneurs organization Global, 85% of South African entrepreneurs say they would start a new business in the current business environment. That's despite shrinking global GDP, almost non-existent South African GDP growth, the slowdown in China, the low commodity prices, and of course the protests at campuses all over the place in recent days. This is the Moneymakers. I'm Bruce Whitfield. Tonight I'm joined by Kirsty Rowett. She's the owner of Source Food and spokesperson for the South African Entrepreneurs Organization to discuss why these particular entrepreneurs will find a positive outlook despite how bleak the environment may seem. Kirsty, just take me through the research, please, and paint a picture of these big, bold and brassy entrepreneurs that you interviewed.
Thank you, Bruce. Yes, yeah. So the Entrepreneurs Organization conducts 2 global surveys per year, just really getting an understanding of where we're thinking in terms of our outcome and the growth strategy and growth plans for the year. And the most recent study conducted in August was found that 85% of local entrepreneurs from the Entrepreneurs Organization have said that they would start a new business in this kind of economic climate, and in general really looking quite optimistic compared to our global counterparts. 79% saying that they would increase permanent staff, permanent employees, close on 72 or 73% saying that they expect an increase in gross profit over the next 6 months, so which is really looking really optimistic and really quite exciting.
Now, that's brilliant because you are therefore preaching to the converted. These are people in the business sector who know the tricks of the trade, as Lindiwe Zulu, the Minister of Small Business, might put it. They understand that cycles come and go. For many people outside of your world where business gets done, come rain or shine, a lot of people might be more intimidated of actually breaking into business for the first time. However, would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. I would agree. But generally, entrepreneurs in general are quite a bold bunch. I mean, in Entrepreneurs Organization, one of our core values is boldly go, as well as have a thirst for learning. And I feel like we really are, because we've got generally quite small businesses, we're able to be agile, we're able to move quickly, we can see opportunities, even when the future looks a bit bleak or the economy is looking a bit bleak at the moment. We look at opportunities, see where we could save money, save our clients money, try new business streams, and take a risk, take a bit of a chance. So I would encourage people with an entrepreneurial spirit to give it a bash. There is a lot of opportunity out there.
Give it a bash. I mean, it sounds like it's be a walk in the park. But just to take you back in history a little bit to a charming gentleman from our past, P.W. Botha, well known for wagging his finger. 1985 was the fateful Rubicon speech, and it was at that point that global credit taps to South Africa were turned off. At that point, 2 guys did 2 different things. Tom Boardman, who I've seen in the last 6 months, was running a little family furniture shop called Boardman's. He was forced to sell. He had to get out of it and go into banking. It didn't turn out too badly for him, Kirsty. But in tough times and in unpredictable times, like we saw after the Rubicon, and I'm not suggesting we're going back there right now, the environment can be quite hostile, can it not, to businesses, especially startups like Boardman's was at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, surely that's an opportunity. It's a moment of time, a moment where if you can see an opportunity in your industry, or perhaps in another industry, it's the time to take the plunge. I think it is a scary environment, and it is something that you really need to look at and ascertain whether you've got a viable business model. Yeah, although it does look a little bit bleak, it is a nice moment for really, really, really good growth and changing the industry a little bit. Turn things on their heads. Look at different opportunities that exist when the market's good.
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, Tom Boardman may have had to get out of Boardman's at that particular point, but there was another young chartered accountant in 1987 setting out in an incredibly hostile political, social and business environment, a young man called Brian Joffe. And he's done okay despite starting in difficult times, and not long after, well, yeah, quite a long time after that, in the early 1990s, a young man with deep political uncertainty in South Africa as we were facing a potential bloodbath or a peaceful democratic transition. A young guy called Adrian Gore started a little business called Discovery under the wings of RMB. Good entrepreneurs do take opportunities when they present themselves, Kirsty.
Absolutely, and those are fantastic examples of entrepreneurs who've really seen the market, caught a glimpse of a vision and seeing what they could do and really run with it. And I hope that, you know, we'll be talking about entrepreneurs from 2015, and particularly from Entrepreneurs Organisation, and guys who've done the same thing in this environment and said, I can see I can see a path, see something, let's take that opportunity and go with it, and, you know, have that thirst for knowledge, for learning and for entrepreneurship, which I think has shown in you know, if you look at those respondents saying 85% of them saying, I'll start a new business. I mean, I was one of them. I'd absolutely start a new business now.
But more than 70% of your members who responded to your research also said they would be in the market to create new jobs right now. Kind of hard to start a new business without creating new jobs, but there is still an appetite, and many startups complain about the work environment. They complain about labor laws, for example, especially in a unionized labor force. You guys seem pretty impervious to those sorts of concerns.
Impervious is maybe a strong word, but maybe more bullish, or, you know, excited. We do need, you know, obviously you need employees to start any business, and I think it's definitely an exciting time, and hopefully we can change things. We can be employing people. You know, it's tough to see corporates, you know, downscaling or closing branches, etc. So hopefully there are opportunities within small businesses to employ new people, employ staff, and really, you know, keep things going at the lower end of the market.
Clem Sant has told us for years that it's in your sector, the small business sector, where the jobs are created, where the future opportunity is created. Just give me a sense, please, of the levels of optimism beyond what the survey says amongst the members of the Entrepreneurs Organisation.
Yeah, I think, you know, we chat often, we meet often, we have a lot of learning events. So I'm with a lot of the members, you know, in excess of 3 or 4 times a month, and I think that there really is a sense of optimism. There's caution, I must say, and people are feeling a bit cautious in terms of how they are operating in their markets, maybe changing their business model slightly, but a general sense of we can do it, you know, we can, and I think that that's just the little engine that keeps on running. So we're still trying.
No, exactly right, but also the collegial atmosphere, I guess, as being part of an organisation of like-minded individuals, and you are very picky as to who you let in to the, not of the hallowed halls, but into the environment and to the habitat that you inhabit. Having those like-minded individuals around you all the time is also going to be, I suppose, to use a better word, energising.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, you know, really a lot of the energy comes from the collective and the collective group. We get a lot of inspiration from our global leadership and global counterparts, as well as our members here, Joburg, Durban. We've got a new chapter in Durban and in Cape Town, and we all try and communicate as best as possible and as often as possible. There are criteria to join the organisation, but that really just to make sure that everybody is of like mind and the businesses are of a certain maturity before you join.
How are we stacking up versus your colleagues, say, in the United States, in Europe, in Asia, for example, in terms of the sense of opportunity that our particular society presents?
You know, the stats show that we are really quite optimistic about starting new businesses, as discussed. Our outlook on the general economy and you know, increased the increased economy over the next 6 months at large is possibly a little bit less. I think only 5% of our respondents commented that they think that the economy is going to improve in the next 6 months versus our global counterparts who are, I think, at about 87. So we are a little bit less sure of the economy and how it's going to change in the next 6 months, a little bit less excited about that. However, I think the levels of optimism are really strong in South Africa at the moment, and it shows by looking at those stats. I'll be fascinated to see what happens in the next 6 months. Hopefully, even more excited.
Nielsen ran a survey recently in which 75% of the people they surveyed said they believed South Africa was already in a recession. We're coming to the end of the third quarter. Stats SA at some point in November will tell us whether or not there was any growth in the third quarter. Certainly, the economy contracted in the second quarter. Do you feel, as a small business owner, that we are in recession, or are you able to sort of sidestep around the issues of the macroeconomy?
Yeah, look, I think it's very tough, and we've had to tighten our belts. We're noticing clients buying less or being a bit more spendthrift with their cash. So I don't think sidestep, I mean, it would be wonderful if we could sidestep it completely, but it definitely does hurt, and it doesn't definitely touch us. I'm in the more entertainment industry, which is the first thing to get knocked off the budget. But I think it does give us, because we've got the agility of small businesses, we are able to change our market, change our business plan, and we've certainly had to start looking at a different client base and how we can extract value from that and offer value as opposed to our traditional models. So you've just got to be able to think on your feet, move quickly, and turn your little ship as fast as possible.
And avoid the icebergs. Always avoid the icebergs. Kirsty Rowett, thank you. Exactly. The owner of Source Food, the spokesperson for the South African Entrepreneurs Organisation. Huge sense of optimism, which you may or may not be feeling yourself. But 85% of these young business leaders, these founders of small businesses, are in the market to start new businesses, despite the numerous obstacles which are being thrust in their path on a regular basis. There'll be more stories on the future, and we'll look at some money makers as well next time on the show. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and thank you for watching. Till next time, bye-bye.